What we're going to be doing today, guys, is I'm going to be showing you guys this new Simic Flash Deck that incorporates a lot of counters. And I'm using this in the current standard 2020 ranked mode, which is kind of giving us a glimpse into what cards will be available after the rotation that happens shortly. Now, keep in mind, we don't yet have access to the Throne of Eldraine cards, but at least this is showing us what cards are rotating out with Throne of Eldraine. So I've put together this deck after seeing some people running similar stuff. You may have seen this deck going around. There's a lot of counters in here. And almost all the creatures, actually I think all the creatures are flash creatures, every single one of them. So the strategy is more or less you play your creatures on your opponent's turn when you have the available mana, if you haven't utilized all your mana for the counters. Other than counters, we have a couple other cards in here like Unsummon. I put in 2 Unsummon, 2 Chemister's Insight because they can also be played as instants. Chemister's Insight for a little card advantage. Unsummon because you can return creatures if you didn't have a chance to counter them in the first place, and then you could try to counter them the next time they're cast. We're running things like Frilled Mystic. The Night Pack Ambusher is one of the superstars here because once you get him going, and since you're not casting spells on your turn anyways, you're activating his ability here, or his passive, where at the beginning of your end step, if you didn't cast a spell this turn, you create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. Now this is our mana here. Running Temple of Mystery and Breeding Pool. One thing you will notice is that with this coming rotation, some of the dual lands will be rotating out, which I think is natural. Let's hop into this and see how this deck works. It is a little bit of a filthy counter deck, but to be fair, I am just trying to grind mastery ranks and get as many of the mastery ranks under my belt so that I can get all the rewards before rotation, because then they're going to start a new mastery tree after rotation. And this is a decent opening hand here. What I look for is the fact that I've got a couple counterspells along with a creature or two, and of course the base mana will require. Let's do it. We've got the Cutthroat. He's good because when you cast spells during an opponent's turn, you basically buff him up. I'm Nexus from Nexus Tavern. You guys can check me out basically on Twitch. I'm here on YouTube as well, and at all social media at Nexus Tavern, including Instagram, where I'm pretty active and I curate a lot of fantasy art on there. But my two passions are really Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons, on top of other role-playing games and the fantasy genre in general. Alright, our opponent hasn't cast anything yet. It looks like he's running a gate deck of sorts. I think we want to get propped up here so that we can run our Frilled Mystic if need be. A lot of times you'll have to make a decision as to whether you want to counter something, which type of counter you want to use. Now, Growth Spiral, I don't think I'm going to counter, even though I have a feeling some people might counter it because I have a feeling our opponent is running Field of the Dead, so every land is going to be crucial for him. And the faster he gets those 7 different lands out, along with Field of the Dead, the faster he's going to start getting a bunch of zombies out. And really, we don't have any answer for Field of the Dead, so... And there it is. The fiendish land itself. Field of the Dead, you guys may have noticed, has become a pretty big thing in the current meta, and maybe it's going to continue to be a big thing. But the reason I didn't counter it was something like this, right? We want to stop Guild Summit because it's going to just provide our opponent with too much card advantage. Okay, our opponent is now at 6 mana, so if possible I will counter anything. If he casts another Growth Spiral, I will go ahead and counter it. The unfortunate thing here is we've only got 1 negate, because I feel like he's got something on the back of this to cast. Maybe he's got another Gates Ablaze. Yep, that's what I figured. Let's see, how many gates does he have here? 1, 2, 3. Huh. I could cast the Spectral Sailor here and save him. I don't know if it's worth it here. I'm going to do it, but I don't know if that was worthwhile. That was a little risky, to say the least. 4, 5. Because the Spectral Sailor would have given us some decent card advantage. So I'm still testing this out. I just made this deck yesterday. And I'm still kind of learning the ins and outs of it. Now, unfortunately, we're running out of counters, but we did need this Essence Capture for the Golos. So that's kind of nice. And we still have exactly 4 left to cast our Ambusher. Oof. Nice. We take it down. So that's a little bit of how this deck works. I hope you guys got some idea there. It is a lot of counter spells, and it can be a little bit filthy. But I wanted to show you guys, because hey, maybe you haven't run into this, and maybe you will in the future, and now you may have a better idea of what this deck is doing.